In this video, we're going to do a word problem. So this question I've taken from the grade 11 Nelson textbook, and we're going to give it a try. The first thing you want to do is ask yourself what the question is asking you. So here it's pretty obvious, and it says that what are the dimensions of the rectangle? Since this tells us that this is a rectangle, I like to sketch it out because I'm very visual. Now we know that the area is 330 meters squared. So 330 meters squared. And one side is 7 meters longer than the other. So if we give our sides variables, this can be x and y. Now if we make an equation using the area, so we know that a rectangle, to find the area, it's length times width. So in this case, it will be x times y. And this is equal to 330. Now when we look at this, can we solve it? No, because we have two variables for one equation. So we have two unknowns. To solve an equation, you always need to have one unknown per equation. So to do this, we're going to use another equation so we can substitute in for one of our variables. So here it tells us that one side is 7 meters longer than the other. So if we let x be our longer side and let y be shorter, we can write out an equation. So you always want to write it in terms of the other. So we can sub it in. So x is equal to y plus 7, because it's 7 meters longer. Now we can sub this in to our equation. So this is our x, and we can sub it in. So we'll get a is equal to y plus 7 times y, which is equal to 330. If we expand this out, that's y squared plus 7y is equal to 330. We always want to change this into standard form so we can solve it. So to do this, we're going to move the 330 to the other side. So y squared plus 7y minus 330 equals 0. Now there are two ways to solve this. The first way is factoring, and then you can also do it with the quadratic formula. So now we're going to do it by factoring, and you want to find two numbers that multiply to equal 330, and they add to equal 7. So if we try, for example, we can do 33 and 10. So this equals 330, but we can see that this is, when you add them, you're going to get 43. If you make one a negative, you'll get a 23. So these numbers are too high to add to 7. We can lower it a little bit, so we can try 30 and 11. So this is going to multiply to 330, but you're still too high when you want to add them. We try, let's see if 15 goes into 330. So 330 divided by 15 is 22. So when you multiply them, that's 330. If you make one negative, this is equal to 7. So these are the two numbers that we're going to use. So now, how do you write this? You want to put it in factored form. So you can write out, open the bracket, y plus 22, y minus 15 equals 0. And when you solve this, y is equal to 22 or 15, negative 22 or 15. Which number do we know is y? Well, y has to be positive because it is a measurement, so our y is 15. And to find x, you can sub this back into our equation from before. So x is equal to y plus 7, so we know x is equal to 15 plus 7, So x is equal to 22. So now if we were to draw this, we know our longer side is 22 meters and our shorter side is 15 meters. And they have an area of 330 meters squared. We can solve the same equation using the quadratic equation. So first, if we identify variables, a is equal to 1, b is equal to 7, and c is equal to negative 330. So let's sub these in. So y is equal to negative b, so our b value is 7, plus or minus the square root of 7 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, negative 330, all over 2 times a, which is 1. Now because we have a negative and a negative, this is going to equal positive, so it's going to change it to 49 plus 1320, all over 2. You want to take this step by step so you make sure you don't make any mistakes. And this gives us, and use a calculator, enter this into your calculator. The square root of that is 37 over 2, which is equal to 30 over 2, which is equal to 15. So that's if you use the plus instead of the negative, because if you use the minus, you're going to end up with a negative number, and as we know, we can't have a negative measurement. So once again, to solve for x, we can use that same equation, which is x is equal to y plus 7. So x is equal to 15 plus 7. This is 22. Draw out your rectangle.